Hello everyone, this is Osiron, or the artist formerly known as the Great Roberto. Now, wow, have I got a story for you. This is a trip report, my god. The experience of taking mushrooms, I mean, I have several trip reports on this, and it's like the most insane experience. Every time, this experience is so fucking insanely powerful that it's always the same thing at the end of it. Why would I fucking ever choose to do that? Yeah, I mean, what kind of lunatic would choose to do that? But then again, as you're going through the experience, the illumination of being that comes from it is like profound, profound to the point of fucking it's profound to the point of being omnipotent fucking source flowing through you. I mean, you are fucking God, literally God. You are God, and you are tuned into God consciousness. But you fucking, now the thing is, you will die if you take a sufficient dose. I mean, that is, obviously, but you know, we're talking about the sufficient dose here. Fucking, you know, you will die, and you will be reborn, and you will do that. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop that and kind of end that, because a lot of people who watch my trip reports, some of them say, oh yeah, you know, fucking, you talk about divine this and divine that when you give these reports. And it's like, you don't really say anything. I guess I've had complaints before about that. You know, someone saying, but you know, but then again, you know, unless you've had the authentic fucking ego death experience, and I hate to even use that word because it's not, you know, ego death paints a picture, you know, that is tainted from the get-go. Oh, ego death, he's some hippie. Believe me, I'm not a hippie. But the truth of it is still there anyway. It's forgotten. But you know, to use the word ego in the formulation of language is by itself, it taints the experience. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to read you some of the quotes that I came up with in the illumination phase of the experience, because we all know, anyone who's taken mushroom knows, it's, you know, there's phases, and one of the phases is the, you know, illumination phase of the trip. You know what I mean? After you've gone, basically after you've been reborn, basically, you know, you've died and you've been reborn, and the wisdom that comes from that is usually fairly profound. You know, so let me read you some of the quotes, and this is going to offend some people. You know, but you know what, if you get offended by these quotes, good. You deserve to be offended. You know, and you deserve to have your fucking icons and idols smashed to the ground where they belong. Okay, the first one is, as if there could ever be a first, but one of the, let me just read them, let me get to them, I got them right in front of me. The first one is Lucifer, Lilith, the essence serpent, and in Satan. Any expression of the alphabet, any alphabet, is sexual. Anyone that says anything negative about these names is trying to destroy sexuality, destroy God, destroy your mind. And then I signed it like this because, you know, then I put Osiron. I put the, you know, Osiron at the end of them, you know. But this time I put Osiron, the Grand Wizard of Time and Space. All right. You know, then, okay, that was one. And then at some other point, I came up with this one. Discipline of mind, masculine focus of intent is what keeps the feminine beautiful. Negligence of mind is what turns her to Kali, the destroyer. Okay, that's that. Then, okay, then the next one is a sort of continuation of that. But the next one is, alluding to my previous post, the irony is, they are both equally beautiful, and that is the Joker of Batman, the futility of the bat. Okay. And next is, the irony is, It doesn't matter if Jesus really lived or not, or Buddha, or any of the other myriad of mythological figures depicting the sexual nature of electricity. Jesus would have been the first one to say, "Do not worship me." And what does everyone do? Put him on a pedestal or a cross and worship him. The irony is beyond insane. Be like Jesus, don't worship him. And everyone does, and of course, Osiron. And the most recent is going to be really fucking... The next one is, you gotta... This next one I have to work with some more. This is sort of a new one that I gotta sort of ponder a little bit. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call this an absolution. This is just sort of something to work with. And that would be another aspect of the divine nature of the Batman Joker myth is that of Ra's al Ghul, the head of the demon in Talia, which is his daughter. They probably would never say this in the comics, but they are more than likely incestual lovers. Not to the point where they produce children, because that would be sick, and they know that. And they would know that, but their dynamic is powerful, and how they relate to the bat. And that is that. These are some of the quotes that I pulled from the trip. Now, one other thing I want to mention, too, about this tripping experience is I purposely didn't use cannabis from the get-go with it. I wanted to just experience the mushroom trip by itself without adding cannabis to the mix right away. So I held off as long as I could without adding cannabis. But as I was moving through the trip without cannabis, as it would be, is still divine beyond measure. It's absolutely just the quintessence of divinity going through the experience, because you die. I mean, the whole death in rebirth part was without cannabis. But then I noticed, an aspect of the trip throughout the trip was like, a certain tension in my body. There was something missing. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna vaporize some cannabis. It was actually old cannabis too, and it's a half a joint of a bud my friend gave me. And I really don't like smoking, cannabis. I've been over this, but so I smoked, but because when he gave it to me, I wanted to try the bud out, and I just rolled it up into a joint and fucking smoked enough of it to get high. It was really top quality shit. Then I put the remainder of the joint on my desk, and it sat there, honest to God, for 3 fucking weeks on the desk, just right there. It wasn't even in anything. It was there for 3 weeks. Then yesterday, during Christmas, someone came over. I was like, I was going to ask if they wanted to smoke that joint, So then what I did is I vaporized the remainder of it. I have a fucking 3/4 of a joint that was sitting on the desk. So I vaporized enough to get high, just a couple hits, and I was fucking high as shit yesterday off that. And then today, I just took a couple hits, in the rebirth phase of the trip, because my body was just that tension in your body, And adding the cannabis to the mix is divine. Adding a divine nature to what is already divine is making the divine experience even that much more beautiful by adding the cannabis to it. So the cannabis, adding cannabis to the mix is very, 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 very powerful. It's just the question is, when do you add it in? And there is no question. You add it when you feel you need it. Is when you do. So it's like, but you don't have to. I just didn't want to take them both from the beginning. You know what I mean? And just have it mixed like that. But then once I did, of course, the experience was, it changed. It really did. I remember, I just have a recollection of when I vaporized the cannabis. It really changed the trip instantly. It added a really powerful personal element. The trip just really did change completely. It was more of a personal nature to it. It really did. It's hard to describe. It really is. But, again, I'm giving a trip report. The irony about trip reports is, you can't watch these things and learn anything really from them and understand the trip. I mean, if you're watching this trip report trying to get a sense of what it's like to fucking trip, you're never, ever, ever going to do that. Never. The only way to fucking know what any psychedelic experience is do it. I mean, you can't listen to anybody. You can never listen to anybody tell you what it's like. Never. I mean, never. It's like, it's honestly, someone telling you what sex feels like, what being in love feels like. It's, but even more profound, because you do die. You do die, and you are reborn. It isn't like, oh, it's a metaphor. You know what I mean? Oh, it's a metaphor. You die and you're reborn. Fucking no. You die, and you understand the nature of being in existence, and the nature of life, and then you are reborn again. Yeah, this body didn't die yet, but you understand that that's so irrelevant as to be laughable. You know what I mean? So, but again, the mushroom, there's always a paradox. There's always someone who's going to go through psychedelic. But then again, oh, dude, I don't know if I added this, because this is important. And I gotta fucking add it. Yeah, because I know it's not where it is. I know it's not in there, so I gotta add it to that list. And it's very, very important. I can't believe it's not there. Let me look. Because there's a quote that I pulled from it. It's very important. And I can't believe it's not there. It's gotta be there. No, it isn't. But it will be. But fucking... Oh, I can't believe it's not here yet. But it will be, because I'm going to add it right now. But because it's a very important quote. I could paraphrase, but... Yeah. Yes. Okay. Bear with me. Okay, good. This is important. The mushroom experience comes down to this. You are going to die, and you are going to be reborn. That can either be painful or not. The choice is yours. That's fucking needs to be fucking saved. And it's so fucking gloriously important to understand. Yeah, it is. But yeah, but the experience is the same every time. It's like it's insane. It's like, and I always say, why would I ever fucking do this again? Because it's like it's an ordeal. The psychedelic experience is an ordeal, and that's one of the things that gets me too. Is about the gram. And I know I've said this before, because this trip was only 3.64 grams. Exactly. I have a picture of it on the scale. It was 3.64 grams exactly. I took it, but once you cross that line from a non-effective dose, just a light dose that's not going to do anything, to there's a line somewhere in there where it doesn't matter. It can't matter. I mean, because it can't matter the gram weight anymore, because you fucking are God. So what the fuck could possibly the gram weight have anything to do with anything when you're in that state? And it doesn't. That's why I say that every fucking time. It's like, why would I fucking take more than this? Why would I need to take more than this? What kind of asshole would do that? Because this is enough. And taking more, what the fuck could I possibly hope to achieve by taking more? This is already divine as it is. You know what I mean? And one of those things that a quote that I didn't write down, but like, you don't need to have your fucking head blown to your asshole every time. But then again, it does end up being that every time, because the phases of a trip, regardless of what noise you create, background music, whatever it is, there's going to be some part of the trip, somewhere in the trip, where you're going to be face to face with silence, complete silence. No matter what you do, you are going to be faced with it. In that silence of oblivion, you are going to be faced with that. It's like, fucking, you have to ride through that too. You have to ride through that too, and fucking, it's like, wow. Regardless, and and there's no escape. You can't fucking, you can't run away from it. You can't run away from the phases of the trip. It's going to fucking kill you. You are going to die, and you are going to be reborn. You either fight your way through it and suffer, or you can roll with it and just let it fucking happen, is basically what it comes down to. Because, and you know, people who have bad trips can't deal with it. They fight it and they get ripped apart. Believe me, I know. I've had experiences where I've been ripped apart because I fought it. And but the thing is, I would never call any of my trips a bad trip. I don't even know what that, you know, bad trip. I mean, because that's another aspect of this, you know, psychedelic experience. You understand that a bad trip is just mind anyway. It's just your mind. I mean, so it's just the nature of creation. So the only thing you're doing is you're unable to deal with the fucking manifestation of the moment. You know what I mean? And you have the anxiousness and tension and the fear and all that. And you can't deal with your own mortality. You can't deal with the fact that that you are going to die, and you continually die over and over and over again all the time at different fractal levels. You know, one of these days this body will die that I have now, but the process of that fractal death is filled with an infinitesimal amount of mini births and deaths over and over and over and over again anyway. I'm just seeing that from this perspective, but someday this body will die, you know, and that will just be a fractal loop, and then whatever happens after that, that's beyond my current understanding, you know what I mean, of creation right now will eventually be. But you know, it's like, it's so fucking wild, dude. It's fucking insane, you know. So, and to articulate it and describe it is nearly impossible, really. It's just mind-blowing, because you die and you're reborn. That's the fucking first and last word. There's something else I wrote too that I'm forgetting about too. I can't believe, I don't know why these aren't there, but yeah, something about alpha and omega. Let me try to find that because it's important. So, yeah, I'm getting lazy now. I thought I saved all this shit. I don't know why it's not there, but something about something I can't recall right now offhand, but I will. Fucking bear with me. I know it's fucking long, but I should edit this shit, but whatever. Fucking. There we go. Oh yeah. See, again, this is important. Ultimately, it comes down to this: beauty just wants to be appreciated. That is the alpha and the omega. Right there. That's it. Ultimately, it comes down to this: beauty just wants to be appreciated. That is it. That's the first and last word. And you learn that, you know, what it means to not appreciate beauty. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up because I could be rambling for fucking hours here about this shit. Because I'm still feeling it right now, obviously. I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's always the same thing, too. You always want to record the experience right away because ultimately you're going to forget the depth of illumination that comes from it. You know what I mean? You will forget. I mean, that's the nature of it. You are going to forget. I mean, you know, you're going to forget how divine you are. You're going to forget that you're fucking infinite. You're going to forget that you are the creative power of being. You are all this shit. You know what I mean? You're going to forget because you're going to get sucked back into the fucking matrix of fucking the expression of life, and you just fucking bam. And then a few weeks or months will go by, and then you'll do it again. Then you'll have this urge that, hey, maybe I should take mushrooms, you know? Fucking, hey, let's take mushrooms. Then you do. It's like, wow. Then all again, you know? And so,